I hijacked JD Vance's Twitter account, and I used it to endorse Joe Biden for president. I did this in November 2020, just days before the presidential election. So how did this happen? Well, a friend of mine sent me a tip that Reince Priebus, Donald Trump's former chief of staff and the former chair of the GOP, had a dead link in his Twitter bio. What was supposed to be a link to the Washington Speaker Bureau was actually a link to nothing, no account, no page. And so I went ahead and registered the handle, WSB Experience. And so I assumed partial control over Reince Priebus's Twitter bio, which I used to tell people to vote for Joe Biden in the presidential election that was just 2 weeks away. It has been 2 days since we registered this account that's mentioned in Reince Priebus's Twitter bio. Always double check your links, folks, especially if you used to be the chief of staff to the president. But I couldn't help myself. I launched Reince Watch to see how long I could remain in control of part of Reince Priebus's Twitter bio. Reince Watch. Reince Priebus, the former chief of staff to President Donald Trump, still hasn't noticed this account is linked incorrectly in his Twitter bio. You have 7 days to cast your ballot for Joe Biden. After a few days, and specifically after I tagged him, the gig was up. The link was changed. Well, the gig is up. Disgraced and humiliated chief of staff at Reince finally updated his Twitter bio. We know you saw Reince, and that's all that matters. A few days later, I realized there was another conservative weirdo who didn't seem to understand how Twitter worked. His name was JD Vance, and I was now in control of part of his Twitter bio. Apparently, conservatives don't know how Twitter works. We're back on. Vote for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. With part of JD Vance's Twitter bio now under my control, I continued my campaign to help get Joe Biden elected president, and a few days later, we were successful. JD Vance, for his part, made a deal with the devil, Peter Thiel, and Donald Trump, to become the second vice president for a man who sent a lynch mob after his first vice president. Be sure to like this video and follow this account. Your support is appreciated, and I recommend you check out my other videos, including the time I was almost sued by Donald Trump.